there's so much talk of a government shutdown, and the president is saying Democrats are standing in the way. But Republicans control the votes. Is the president correct in trying to make the argument that it's Democrats? They don't need you.
No, he's not correct. But before I go to that, listening to Nick Ackerman earlier, as a former prosecutor, everything he said is absolutely right. I've been there. I know what that's like. But to your question, there's only one person who has called for a shutdown of the government, and that's Donald Trump. He's done it twice. I would hope that his fellow Republicans won't follow his demand for a shutdown. It would humiliate our country. It would humiliate the president. And it would cost us billions and billions of dollars. They've had months to put together a deal. Democrats have been willing to work on every step. This deal they're talking about in the House now is a fig leaf at best. It doesn't address the needs of our military, but it also doesn't address the needs of civil society in our country.
Senator, I want to just point out, obviously, we're hearing it behind you. That protest is ongoing. A Jewish group, members of whom are being arrested one by one, being removed from the building. And I'm just going to show that while we're talking to you. And they're protesting DACA. And the fact is that Republicans are saying, let's take one more month to deal with this. In December, they said, let's take one more month to deal with this. And at some point, this DACA deadline comes and it gets Democrats back against the wall. So how do Democrats insist that this actually has to be dealt with now? We're dealing with 800,000 people and a potential major hit to the U.S. economy if this DACA matter is not settled with some permanency.
We have to settle with some permanency. I don't think anybody's willing to take the word that we'll do this later on. It's like, oh, just trust us. We'll have the money and we'll have it all done in November. Well, just trust us. We'll have it done in December. Just trust us. We'll have it done in January. Just trust us, and on and on. Trust is not there. We've had plenty of time to do the budget, to do CHIP, to do defense and non-defense spending, but especially to take care of these young people who are loyal Americans, who want to serve our society. We can do it all. Stop the tweeting. Stop the name calling. We have the Homeland Security Secretary coming in and saying, oh, yes, we need this $10-12 billion for Donald Trump's wall. They have no design how they're going to do it. They promised Mexico would pay for it, but she had to admit under oath there are no plans for Mexico to pay for it. Stop the baloney. Stop the tweeting. Stop the playing games. And let's let Republicans and Democrats in the Congress sit down and do their job.
Well, it seemed last week that might happen. Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin working on a deal together. Now, today, some people are saying, why do you keep harping on what the president's harsh words were last week, whether he used profanity or not? Does it matter in light of the fact that you're talking about Republicans pushing DACA, say, trust us, trust us? When they say trust us and you hear the president utter vulgar racist terms, is that what causes you to lose that trust?
Well, a lot of Republicans will tell you privately they can't rely on the president. He'll say one thing one day, do something entirely different the next day. They saw that happen in the first votes on health care. They brings them all down, praises it, praises what they did, and the next day said, oh, that was a bad deal. They're getting whiplash. I joke sometimes in the Senate gym, my Senate Republican colleagues, are you coming in to fix the whiplash? I get some very room full of smiles.
Okay, if that's a room full of smiles, and if they tell you privately that they don't take the president at his word, what do you say to them privately? Because they get in line behind him and tell him he's an exquisite leader and compliment his golf course.
Well, I tell them they're making a bad mistake. It might help them in the short term. It does not help the country in the long term. We're going to give a gold medal to Senator Robert Dole, conservative Republican leader, this afternoon. I'm going to speak at that and tell how he used to bring Republicans and Democrats together because he always kept his word. And that's what we got to return to. We can do a lot of good things here, Republicans and Democrats working together. But everybody's got to keep their word, put the country first. That's not being done now.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.